So next I'd like to welcome Suzanne Wylie, Belfast Council Chief Executive and also the Community Plan and Partnership Chair. I'm delighted that Suzanne can share her reflections on where we are as a city, the role of community planning and how we can work together to help drive real improvement in people's lives. So over to yourself, Suzanne.
Okay, thank you very much, Aaron, and also to Jim. I am so delighted to be at this conference today, and great to hear from the Minister this morning too. And I think you'll hear a real joined up approach right across the board from all the statutory agencies, including the Council, but particularly between the Department for Communities and the Council, as well as we really look at all the challenges that are ahead of us and what we're going to do and how we have to do that collectively across all of the sectors. I have a few slides here just to show you, because what I want to do very briefly this morning, really just to set the context, is to show you what the proposed model is of working across between the statutory sectors and the voluntary community and social enterprise sectors as well over the next period of time, so that kind of sets you up well for the workshops that you're going to have in your breakout rooms as well, because we absolutely expect to hear what you think of all of this morning. This has to work for you as well as the statutory sector, so that's why it's really important that you get the opportunity in your workshops to discuss all of those issues. I would say that what we're really trying to do here is make sure that there are really deep and lasting relationships and that there is an ongoing dialogue. It is not just that we come to the sector or the sector comes to us whenever there's something to be done or something to be consulted on. That this is absolutely about an ongoing approach and a new way of working for us, because we have so many challenges, never more so than today, and looking into the next few years, and we will only be able to address these challenges and support our people and our communities if we really do this together. And Carol mentioned there about the last 8 months. You have mobilised the sector to provide this support that Carol has talked about. You've shown real resilience, I think, across the sector, and real sustainability, and that can only be built on. And again, I would echo Carol's thanks as well to you. Obviously, Carol talked about the money that has been brought forward by the department, also by the council as well. And we couldn't have got that money out and that support out to communities without all of you putting your shoulders to the wheel and doing that. Obviously, Carol mentioned the Programme for Government and the Belfast Agenda, which is Belfast Community Plan. And way back 4 years ago, when we started to pull the community plan together, we did that by going out and having the Belfast conversations. So people did tell us, what challenges they were facing. They did tell us what they felt the priorities needed to be, and that is reflected in the Belfast Agenda. But of course, we've been hit sideways by COVID and all sorts of other challenges as well. So that community plan always needs to be refreshed and updated. And that's something that we want to work with you to do over the next number of months as well. Delighted that we have a new model now for doing that and a new partnership approach, because I know there have been frustrations across the sector. And I know some of those will be reflected today as well, and rightly so, because you should be challenging us, and we're up for that challenge, absolutely. But there has been a few frustrations, of course, that there isn't the level of involvement, the level of input, the level of engagement that there ought to be. So this new model, as set out here on this slide, is to help ensure that ongoing dialogue, that ongoing input that we talked about, not only in identifying what it is we need to do, but how we collectively need to do it, and then to collectively actually deliver it. So I'm delighted that we have our panel, our VCSE Sectoral Advisory Panel, with our 15 representatives put forward by you. And I met with them a few weeks ago, and I have to say, so much energy in that virtual room. Every single one of them was really up for putting so much effort into making this work and bringing their expertise from all of the different communities of interest that they represent, and making sure that we actually can deliver for the people of this city. So that panel is there. It is the formal representation of how the sector will engage with the Community Planning Partnership, but there will also be much more than that. We have 1,600 different sector representatives in the third sector here. And of course, we have to engage with them as well. So we have this wider network as well, and any of the sector representatives can engage in that wider network. And we will make sure through the sectoral advisory panel that we draw in the wider network as well, and we get their input to what we're going to do. And of course, as well as that, when we get down to action planning and problem solving, and you're going to talk about more of that today, we will of course bring in the relevant sector representatives to that, because of course you know, you have the expertise, you have the knowledge of what's going on the ground, and it's really important that the community planning partners around the table, not just the council, because remember there are many statutory sector agencies sitting around that partnership, they all need your intelligence and your expertise if we're going to design up and deliver in a way that is really going to make that difference to communities. So I will give you, you know, my assurance as the CEO of Belfast City Council, but also as the chair of the Community Planning Partnership, which represents a lot of other agencies and multi-sectors and the private sector as well, that we're absolutely up for making this work along with the VCSE Sectoral Advisory Panel and the wider network. We're really, you know, keen as well to hear from you in your workshops, of course, in terms of how decision making will work and how accountability will work. So not only how you will hold us to account, but how we will collectively hold each other to account for making this work. Really keen to hear about how we're going to take this joint action to deliver your ideas about that, and really keen to hear about how we're going to put community right at the heart of all of this, and connect our sectors to our citizens. So the council itself is making a number of changes to our approach, and so the timing to do this is absolutely right, not only because of all the challenges we're facing with COVID and coming out of this emergency, but also in terms of just where we are in our community planning process and where the council is in terms of its whole approach to engagement. So last week we agreed our new framework for engagement, which really is about moving towards co-design and making sure that it's not just about informing people or consulting people or getting your feedback. It is absolutely about co-design. And there are key principles at the heart of that. And the vision really is that everyone feels that their opinion actually matters, and that their voice is heard in this whole process, and that there will be this culture underlying this process of ongoing engagement, and particularly involvement in the early stages of what it is we're trying to do. So we have now set up a new digital platform for engagement across the city. And of course, this is just one of the ways that we want to make sure that we hear what people across the city have to say. This is going to be launched this week. It's called Your Say Belfast. It is very, very interactive. We'd like all of you to register, and you will get emails about this later on this week. So we'd like all of you to sign up to this, and of course you will see a lot of information on this website about what the VCSE panel is doing, and what they want to hear from you as well. So early stages in this, we have a recovery plan for the city in terms of COVID. That's something we really want to hear what people's perspectives on this recovery plan are. So basically we pulled it together as a starter for 10. It is not set in stone. It will evolve over the next few months and years, and it is a real opportunity to really get involved in terms of how the community voluntary sector will support our recovery from this crisis. We obviously, you know, we are so concerned, all of us across this virtual room this morning. We're concerned about what's going to happen in terms of poverty, in terms of mental health across the city, in terms of our jobs and job losses that are happening every day now, in terms of our climate change and our approach to how we're going to solve those particular problems, in terms of skills that we need to develop across Belfast as well. But there are some strengths. It's not all negative. There are real strengths. There are real strengths in terms of the sector itself. I talked about your resilience and what you've done in terms of delivery over this last number of months and years. There are also strengths in terms of capacity within communities. Carol talked about community wealth building, something that this council will focus on as well, and the community planning partnership will focus on. And there are also strengths in terms of some of the economic sectors and growth sectors as well, which will create new jobs for people across the city. And what we need to make sure is that we have people skilled up from all of our communities that can get those particular jobs. We put together in the council an Innovation Inclusive Growth Commission. So it's really like a think tank, a bit like what Grania does, Strategy. Put it together, this think tank, bringing in some big thinkers from the south of Ireland, from England, and from Belfast itself. And they have set down a list of stimulus packages which they've sent to the executive here, asking for investment that will create jobs. So this is a real jobs-led approach to recovery, and it includes these particular areas: a community approach to energy efficiency across the board, a big retrofit programme across the housing sector in our communities, and creating opportunities for new skills as well and new jobs in rolling out that retrofit programme. A huge investment in terms of skills development, particularly in digital skills, a huge investment in house building across the city as well, and a huge investment in terms of our infrastructure and our environment as well in Belfast. So 128 million pounds of a package we've asked for, and of course we'll have to see how that works out over the next period of time, but I'd like to hear more about your views on whether those are the right areas for investment to stimulate jobs in the coming months and years as well. So this is our recovery framework for the city. This is the framework that I've said is really a starter for 10, and will be one of the first things that we will want to get a really serious dialogue on across the city and in all our neighbourhoods. It's a really joined up approach. Inclusive growth is right at the heart of it, because we do need to create more jobs and support the jobs that we currently have in the city. But of course you can see that around that wheel, every single sector has equal relevance, and our communities and our society absolutely a core strength of how we are going to recover in the coming months. So we are as well looking at producing plans north, south, east and west of the city in terms of recovery, and we want to co-design those with you, setting local priorities across this city, and there is a real role for the sector in helping to do that through the community planning process. So just finish, Aaron, by saying absolutely, you know, we have real challenges ahead, but again, to re-emphasise what strengths we have in the sector and in our communities, and we want to draw on all of this going forward and really work closely together. We all need to put our shoulders to the wheel. So, and thank you again to Aaron and Jim for setting up this conference. I really look forward to hearing from all of you about how we really can do this collectively together. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Suzanne. And I think we all saw the benefits of partnership working this year and know the partnership working will be key to renewing the city. It's great to see your commitment, that of your team, by Christine Robinson and all of her team. And importantly, your investment in community planning and engagement through your support for the panel, through Stratagem. It's been fantastic having them on board with us, and the new online platform. So I want to thank you for joining us this morning, Suzanne, and we look forward to hearing from your colleagues later on this morning. So thanks very much, Suzanne.